There's no one way to lead. There are some foundational principles. We put people first, we have empathy, we practice human skills. Those are universal,
Yep.
right? But our personalities are allowed to show up, but styles need to adapt for situations. So like I've met so many leaders who are like these sort of command and control leaders. They've watched too many movies is probably,
Right.
they make movies about bad leaders, by the way, right? Because bad leaders are really exciting. They come in and they scream and shout at everybody and nobody knows what to do until they get there.
Right.
And then they come in and save the day, right? That's actually terrible leadership, but really makes for great movies. Good leadership, like they've never made a movie about Marshall or Bradley. When you have great led organizations,
Right.
You walk into the office and you're like, hey, is the boss here today? And they're like, well, I don't, maybe, we don't know. We haven't seen them,
Yeah.
Like everything just gets done. Pretty quiet, people just help each other, it's better, not very exciting.
Right.
However, that said, in times of extreme stress, that can't work. The whole like, hey, I'd like to get your opinion, and how are you feeling today? In times of extreme stress, it doesn't work. And so that command and control mentality does need to be able to turn on and turn off, rarely.
Yeah.
So I was talking to some Marines. I visited Quantico, where the Marine Corps selects its officers, OCS. Any Marines in the audience?
Any Marines?
There's one.
Oh, there we go.
And we were talking about it, which is, despite what you see on the TV from the military and Marine Corps, they're not screaming and yelling at everybody all the time and telling them what to do. It's just not how it is. There's a lot of feedback. There's a lot of what do you think? There's a lot of leaders getting input from other people because more information and perspectives you get benefits your decision-making ability. Nobody expects you to have all the answers. It's ridiculous. So getting points of view and perspective is really important. But in combat, in times of extreme stress, where the trust has already been built, because you can't just show up and expect everybody to trust you. That's not how it works. In good times, you build the trust.
Yeah.
And then in extreme stress, you can turn that command and control on, and everybody trusts that you're giving them orders that are probably in everybody's best interest. And they trust. And when that's gone, you turn it off.
Yeah.
And so a good leader knows how to adapt for the situations and personalities that they work with. They don't expect their people to adapt to them. What I'm obsessed right now is with friendship. It's sort of the thing that I'm fascinated by and working on. If you look at most of the challenges that we're talking about these days, the epidemic of loneliness, rising rates of depression, anxiety, inability to cope with stress, in extreme cases, suicide, friendship fixes all of those things. Friendship fixes all of those things. It's the ultimate biohack. And yet if you ask people, are you a good friend? Most people say yes. And if you peel the onion just a little bit, you realize that we're all actually pretty bad friends. Like, would you cancel on a friend for work, or would you cancel on work for a friend? Oh, but my friends will understand, right? And you realize pretty quickly that we're not very good at communicating. Like, if you're having trouble in your marriage, right? If you have a fight, if there's a violation of trust, you try and talk it out, you work on it. You sit in the mud together, you get therapy, you try very hard to make the relationship survive. If you have a huge fight with a friend or there's a violation of trust, we just abandon friends. Like, we don't do friend therapy to save a friendship. Why not? And one of the reason I talk about this is, as adults, we're struggling with friendship, how to make them, how to maintain them, how to look after them, sometimes how to end them, how to repair them.
Yep.
We're bad at it as adults. We're not teaching our kids how to make friends. When your kids have play dates, they all have phones. Take all the phones away, put them in a bowl. Call the parents and be like, well, the parents called you because you made the play date. But say, listen, we're planning on taking the phones away. If you need your kid, call me. And we know this, a lot of schools want to get rid of phones. It's the parents who won't let them. Well, what if there's an emergency? Well, call the office. They know where your kid is. Old school, right? Like, the old systems work. And so one of the things that I'm very afraid of, even while we're struggling, is we are not teaching our kids how to relate to each other, how to have fights with each other, how to resolve things, how to repair, and how to make friends, which means the epidemic that we're facing now of loneliness, stress, depression, and suicide gets worse. And our children will be the ones struggling even more than we are. For me, interacting in a relationship, whether it's a sales relationship or going on a date, it's all the same thing. So what's the difference between a sales call and a date, right? You're sitting across from somebody and hoping to close the deal, right?
Yes.
I mean, you know, however you define deal, right? And so think about, so let's take a hypothetical character, we'll call him Mike, right? And let's send Mike on a date, right? Now, Mike, we set Mike up, his friends set him up, and the way they sort of pitched the girl to him, they said, you're gonna love her. Like, she's gorgeous, and she's like super rich, and she's like super famous, you're gonna love her, right? And you're like, I'm in, right? Yep. So we send Mike on his date, and he sits down across the table, and this is how the date goes. I'm really successful. I've done really well. And I've got a beautiful house. You really should come by sometime. And, you know, I'm good looking, which is great because I go on TV all the time, and I know a lot of famous people, you know? Now, the question is Mike gonna get a second date, right?
Yeah.
And it's so obvious that that's not a good way to go on a date.
Yeah.
Now let's pretend it's a sales call. You know, we're the largest company in the market. We've got amazing offices. You really should come by sometime. You've probably seen our TV commercials. You know, very, very successful company. So if we know inherently, instinctively that date was appalling, why would you think that's a good sales call?
Yeah.
Right? Now let's send Mike out again, except this time Mike's going to start with why, right? He sits down, he goes, I got to tell you, I just got here from work. I mean, I love my job. I get to wake up every single day to inspire people to do the things that inspire them. That's my work. Like, could you think of anything more fulfilling? And here's the craziest part. Like, I made a bunch of money because of it, and I got a big house because of it. You should come by sometime. And I got to meet like a whole bunch of famous people. And it's just been an amazing journey. Profoundly different.
Yep.
All the stuff is still there, but profoundly different simply because you started with why.
Why?
And the joke is you were, both you and the person you set on a date with, were both told about the stuff when you agreed to go on the date. Like somebody said, you should meet with this company, you know, they're really big in the market. And people say, sure, I'll take the meeting. But that's not what makes people want to connect with you and do business with you. And so there's multiple ways to have a good sales meeting when you start with why. Number one, you could talk about yourself. You say, I love this company. Let me tell you a specific story that happened to me why I love this company. Right? So people resonate when you have passion for the thing you love. You can say the company's why. Right? So let me tell you what we stand for, which quite frankly is a great way to get out of bed in the morning. Like, to work for a company that cares about that before everything else, let me tell you, pretty inspiring, right? And you can tell, even if you don't have the words, even if the company hasn't properly articulated the why, or you don't actually know your why, you can tell a story. You can tell me, let me tell you this one time when, ... to exemplify it, to capture the love, the emotion. And then all the stuff can come out afterwards. But the people who will fall in love with doing business with you, they believe what you believe, that's why they want to do business with you, and it's why they're loyal to you. You're always going to attract people who do business with you because you happen to show up at the right time, you happen to be the right price, you happen to have this. That's the commodity stuff. Those people are not loyal.
Right.
They're just looking for the lowest common denominator. Sometimes you get them, sometimes you don't. What makes companies great are the loyal ones, and the loyal ones, it's always based on the relationship with the people and with the company.